and to be able to ask Frank some questions. So we'll open it up to you guys, and then we'll also do some stuff on the Discord in a second. So I guess if you wanted to do a little bit of an intro for yourself, like I have something that I've written up, but I thought it might be good to let you get started.
Yeah, I'll do a short intro. I went to UCLA for film. Realized like the film industry was kind of not gonna make it, and then my friends and I started a startup. It was like a delivery service, and we built like a website for it at UCLA, and then we got into YC, so that's when we dropped out, and I kept working on that for a year. We got funding. I left that and then started working as a growth engineer at a few startups. One of them called Main Street. Fold app was another one. And then at that point, my friends and I were getting really deep into Bitcoin. And from Bitcoin, this is in 2021 or 2020 and then to 2021. And then we started trading shit coins. And while we were trading shit coins, we started playing around with Solana, and we saw like NFTs minting on there. And we we thought they all sucked, and so we thought, why not us? Like, why don't we try this? And I think I was 21 at the time, and we launched DeGods in October of 2021, and then pretty much been running it since. And so it's cool. You guys are all in college. Like a lot can happen. The years you guys are. How old are you, by the way, right now, Conrad?
Turning 20 in a week, so still
Yeah,
younger.
sick. No, you're old now, dude.
Yeah. Oh, don't
No.
say that. Don't say that. Awesome. Yeah, I know. So like that was where I was gonna start. I mean, you start off in the film industry. I know
Mhm.
you were shooting some music videos. You had like some cool rappers like E40, G-Eazy. And then I also saw your TEDx talk you did, a movie a day. So do you want to talk a little bit more about like your intro to school, going to UCLA, and sort of maybe like that moment where you knew that that, Duffel was gonna take off, and, like, I'll talk about that because I know, like, you talked about, like, operating it inside of your college dorm, sort of, like,
Yeah.
I think Waterloo is a lot of founders, I think it would be awesome to, be able to get a little bit of a perspective of, how do you stay on the ball? How do you balance your school? And what was it like being a student founder?
Yeah. Um, in the film industry, I worked in it like growing up when because I grew up in LA, and the big thing in the film industry is you have to like network vertically. So you have to, meet people that are more powerful or more successful or more experienced than you, network with them, and then from there, that's how you kind of get successful. What I loved when I first started learning about honestly business and startups is that is actually like the wrong way to go about it in 2024. The best thing you could do is network horizontally and
Mm,
start something with your buddies. And you'll be very shocked to see, where your friends, especially at school like Waterloo, you guys learn the blockchain, engineering stuff, all this.
yeah.
You'd be surprised where your buddies end up in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And so you should look around the room and think, yeah, the people around you are probably gonna be the best people to network with. So that was my experience was I was with my friends. We all wanted to make money and make something. This is before we even really knew what startups were. And then I started reading Paul Graham's essays. I don't know how many people in the room have like read any of that, but you should just look it up, Paul Graham. And I started reading his essays. Um, and after I read like the third one, I learned what Y Combinator was. I just stumbled on one of his essays because I'm just like an internet fiend, and
Yeah.
I learned what Y Combinator was, and then I told the boys about it. I was like, guys, there's this thing. It's called Y Combinator. We have to dedicate our fucking life to getting in. If we get in, we're gonna make it. And then, spoiler alert, once you get now, I think some of you guys are on startup Twitter, CT Twitter, it's kind of a meme. Just because you get into YC, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You still have to make something cool that people actually want. But that was my college experience. I did 2 years, and we started Duffel, I think, yeah, the beginning of my sophomore year. And then once we got in, we actually went to the interview. And that was a long story. If we get, like, later into, I'll go deep, but we ended up just hanging out in Stanford campus, waiting for, either we're gonna get an email if we get in. I mean, if we get rejected, or we're gonna call if we get in. And, we get the call, and the first thing they say is, "You guys all have to drop out, or, we can't, like, justify funding you." And so, you'll be surprised. 3 of the guys I'm kinda Asian, like, 2 of the other guys on the team were Asian. You'd be surprised, it was kind of a debate. whether it's did or not, but we ended up doing it, and, yeah, that was my and then, um, kept running duffel at UCLA for, like, a year, scaled it out to USC and a few other, college campuses, and so, that was, like, my college experience that, yeah, it ended up being nothing to do with my major, so I wonder, how many what the majors of your yeah, the guys in the room are, because I bet it's pretty diverse.
I guess I wanted to transition a little bit into, like, the DeGods talk here. So
Yeah.
how do you feel like, what are what are the key things, would you say, to being a founder, and how did that transition over from duffel, operating, making something with your friends to sort of, what came to be DeGods? What were some of the shared traits, even as you changed complete industries, and you were still, a founder?
You actually said it best, which is making stuff with my friends, and,
Okay.
honestly, that was the through line, right? In college, I did duffel with my friends, and then, after that, like, DeGods, the guys that we ended up, starting, DeGods with, we're all like, we were all at this point in our life. I think I was, yeah, as I mentioned, 21. Some of the guys were 24, 25. We just like this friend group, and all we were doing was hustling, trying to get something to get off the ground. And so that was the energy, and I think that's what propels you in the early days of starting something to,
Mhm.
go above and beyond, because you're kinda doing it alone. There's gonna be these moments where you hit walls, and it's gonna get really tough to, overcome them, but if you're with your boys, or girls, or I don't know, I see everyone in the room, uh, at the blockchain club in Waterloo, but, if you're with the homies, um,
Yeah.
it's actually, kind of fun to hit challenges. It's fun if you feel like you're in it together. So that's actually the through line between all of it, is working with people you actually enjoy spending time with, because it really sucks, if you don't.
Right, and what was that conversation like with your parents? Like, "Can I drop out?" Like, did you try asking them before, or was Y Combinator sort of the kicking point there?
Yeah, it's funny, yeah. No, my mom still thinks I might, go back to school one day. It's like randomly at times she'll say like, "Honey, um, when are you gonna go back? Have you thought about going back?" I'm like, "Mom, what are you talking about? Like, there's no way." But yeah, that was it was a tough conversation, and it's weird. It's just an Asian parents thing, like, but they understood. I think even
Yeah,
after DeGods too, I'd been working. I think I was working like 4 jobs, before DeGods, and, when I told them about it, they definitely did not understand it, but now it's like they hold DeGods, they've seen it. My
yeah.
parents actually came to our first event, in LA, like, a month or 2 ago, and it was kinda surreal. It's been like 2.5 years running this, and that was their first event. I think they're kinda proud now. We'll see.
You're getting there.
My mom's like, "Can you pump the price?" Like, they all I'm like, "Mom, working on it." But, yeah, they're
Yeah.
holders now, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I guess I have 2 more questions before we go straight up into the DeGod stuff, and then,
Yeah.
we can start there. I know you also worked at Main Street for a little bit, like, and I think during that time, when it went from, like, 5 mil to 500 mil valuation, and you were a one-man marketing team, and I feel like crypto is very social. It definitely relies almost purely on marketing, especially with NFTs. You're building a community, and sort of, you're building that intrinsic value. So how would you say that the marketing carried over?
Hmm, how the marketing carry over? Um, I think your goal is to look for whenever you're trying to market in 2024, there's really no room for mediocrity, right? So, like, even with Main Street, which is a B2B, SaaS company for tax credits, for companies that are hiring 5 or more engineers, like,
Yeah,
that was the business there. Um, we wanted to we need to be super pinpoint and precise with all the marketing, because you're wasting so much of money and effort if you're not getting to your exact target audience. And so, you're really, like, not trying to cast a wide net. You're trying to articulate what the value prop of what you're doing is in the clearest way, and then testing that a bunch of times until you really hit something. And when you do, then you can get creative and start to scale it out, test a lot of variations, or do weird shit and get creative. And so I think this applies to crypto too, where you have to imagine most of the people in crypto are pretty busy. Um, there's like a lot of opportunity going on all day, every day. And so you have to make people want to check your thing out. They're not gonna just check it out because, you write the initial thread really well. You spend like,
White
you
paper.
know, 10 hours writing the thread and then you post it and you're like, guys, you send it to your chats, like, guys, go please retweet it. Because you should measure it against the stuff you're seeing in your For You page. And I imagine most of you guys have a Twitter or are on startup Twitter. And it, man, like if you don't log into Twitter for like a day, you go on there, every single post you see on your For You page is gonna have like 700 likes, you know, just like it's just a banger every single time. Because that's what you're really competing with. And yeah, you just gotta hold yourself to that benchmark. There's no room for mediocrity. How are you gonna get an audience?
Fair enough. Yeah, so I guess transitioning into the cryptoverse here, like at a very high level, what do you think makes crypto so appealing and NFTs so appealing? Just at the highest level. And also, what do you think, to the students who maybe are a little bit skeptical about crypto and NFTs, like could you try to, pitch it a little bit, like sell us on the idea of why NFTs are at one point DeGods were worth 20,000 each US. That's, it's just under $200 million market cap, just DeGods, that's excluding Utes. One of
Well,
the
I'm
most.
curious actually for you, like what do you hear are the biggest skepticisms? Like, man, this is actually the part I'm most excited is I wanted to ask you guys
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
I mean, does anybody have I can go for it. Does anybody wanna say why they don't like NFTs or crypto? Anybody? Go for it. No? We got
Oh,
a
so I
silent
love
crowd
it.
here. Yeah, I guess they all love it. No, I'd say like some of the most common things that I hear are dogs and cats. Why are you paying 10,000, 20,000 for it?
Yeah.
There's no revenue. I'll just screenshot it. And obviously I get, the on-chain provenance and everything, but it might be best if somebody who's done it to the tune you have could explain it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I bucket like meme coins, NFTs, kind of just all these crypto assets in the same bucket, which is tokenized communities.
mm,
Um, and even that might even be too much of a buzzword. So I'll even say it more simply. If you extrapolate the rest of your life, do you feel that you'll be spending more time or less time on the internet?
right. It's only
Like,
gonna go up.
my guess is probably more. Like, I think this is like a pretty realistic take on the future of society. And so if that's the case, um you can make an argument that people are gonna want internet money. Like, this is how I think about it, right? Like, you spend so much time on the internet, you're gonna, like, want to build a social circle, you're gonna wanna make friends, you're gonna wanna, like, have kinda a community that you feel attached to your home base, or you wanna constantly be a nomad between different communities, AKA, like,
Right.
trading, swapping in and out of them. And I think this is something that more and more people it'll just come very naturally to them, uh, and that's why I'm honestly curious to hear more from you guys, but my guess is people are loneliness epidemic. People are looking for friends. I've never seen anything like crypto Twitter on the internet in my life where you can like talk to somebody for weeks, months on CT, get into coins with them, get NFTs or whatever, meet them in real life at conferences or whatever. That when you guys leave school, you're gonna realize it's pretty tricky to make new friends. Like,
Mm,
where do you go, right? You go to the fucking bar, like,
yeah,
if you don't have the dorms, you don't have, like, kind of a social net, your
yeah,
real, like, only shot at making friends is going to these kind of public spaces like bars, whatever, or, at work, and then
mm.
beyond that, you're, like, getting into random hobbies like fucking pickleball, but really, like, why? It's at the hope that you sorry for any pickleball fans,
Oh, you're
um
good.
it's really the hope that you have something, you meet someone and you have, like, a shared interest. And so, I think this is a massive gap that there's what solved this? And to me, I think crypto might just be this, might especially the on-chain stuff might be this. And then there's Bitcoin, store of value, like, I think you guys are
Right.
all pretty pilled. I like Bitcoin a lot.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, I think you're sort of focused on the fun stuff. Like I'd say the one thing that NFTs and, meme coins unlock is that how can you assign a value to a meme or to a community? And then, you see Dogecoin. I'm sure all you guys have seen Mudang, like that little hippo or whatever it is. And that went up to what, $300 million market cap in like a week. And
Yeah.
so it sounds ridiculous, but I think there's a direct sort of relationship between the how popular something is digitally. And then, again, now you have a digital currency, which then represents that group, that community that can rally around said thing. And you see with Dogecoin, whatever it's like, $10 billion market cap, 20 billion, like so it gets up there, and I think that's sort of, my understanding of it.
Well, I'm gonna maybe this is too intense for for you guys here, but
Yeah,
like the the way the world is going, you can make the argument that the Federal Reserve is forcing the youth to gamble, or speculate. The reason I
right.
say this is because, even for me, like I'm kind of on the cutoff. I'm still a Gen Z, but I was 99. Maybe to you guys that's really old, but 99 grew up on the internet. Like our entire life, the generation like right before us, were able to buy homes. Like just working a job, put in the
Yeah,
savings account, like you can buy a house. I think you guys are all aware that this is a difficult thing to do, even if you get a sick job, right after college, for example. It's going to be difficult to buy a house without going into debt, and this used to be like the standard. And so, as like inflation ramps up, the way the world is going, you made the argument like this is why things like sports betting are like on this massive rise. This is why everybody in the world basically has to hit a moonshot in order to make it. And so, in this world, crypto, I think, is filling that gap. And that's why I said it's kind of dark, to a degree. But again,
yeah,
you guys are going to be the future of it, and all of us can build it in a way that I think we think is sick. It's our own kind of world on the
yeah.
internet. That's the exciting part to me. But I think there's the product market fit is just happening as a forcing function of the way the world economy is going. Because you can't make it unless you speculate and hit it big on a fucking trade. Like how?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, like, especially in Canada, we have the highest divergence between like median income, median home price. And I think for the average person, like it's becoming owning a house and not renting for the rest of your life is pretty much going down the drain. And so I think it explains the gambling culture, sports betting, which is more accessible than ever, all-time highs, gambling, all-time highs, meme coins and NFTs, all-time highs. Because I think, like you said, that extra $100 that you have, I mean, you can save it and, maybe that can turn into $1,000 by the time, 40 years down the line. Or you could buy Mudang coin and then the $1,000, goes
Yeah,
into
because
a hundred.
$1,000 gonna buy a house. Is like
Yeah.
$1,000 gonna put down a down payment? No.
No.
But $100,000, if I can 100x $1,000, it could. So the utility of money in the in between is actually, diminishing. And so
Right.
this is like the interesting part about where we're at in the world. There's a world where all of us, internet native kids, it's gonna be very obvious to us that, yeah, like, something gets popular, you just go buy the fucking coin. Like, yeah, you go trade it, you hit in the group chat, whatever, it goes up, goes down, but that's just, like, the world that we, might be going towards.
Right. And so how do you think that, DeGods and NFTs sort of played into that, and why, like, where the success came from? Like, how did you guys build the community? And maybe for those who don't know, you guys can search it up if you haven't seen it, but for like the V1 to V2 to V3 art, and all the things that you implemented. Like, I'll go through them again, but you can pick and choose what you want here between the paper hand tax, the
Yeah.
dust token. Like, how did you implement all those things? To create a community and derive that value that has now, come to the forefront in terms of, like you said, the Fed um, not doing very good for the people.
Um, Honestly, I think the history of DeGods is not even that important. I think the most important thing, because it's so random, right?
Yeah.
The reality is we just kind of follow where we're trying to be as close with the community as possible, and then make things that get them excited, get us excited, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and you end up, and that's the game. Like, that's the game of crypto, right? If you're gonna start something like a coin or whatever, you have to take high shots on goal because to my point, take the Fed example, but put that into crypto, where if your coin or NFT or whatever it is never has escape velocity, never gets to that point, it's
Mhm.
really hard. Like the myth of kind of the linear grind up is actually not true. And it's actually when people ask me, should I start something in crypto, especially younger people, usually my answer is no. Like, dude, my life's fucking like it's a roller coaster, bro. It is intense some days, other days it's amazing. Um, but you're kind of signing up for either this thing moons or I'm gonna get like a lot of shit. And so it's something to think about. And so for us, when we first started out, the whole thinking was just all right, like how do we blow people's minds? Like what do we do that's interesting or fresh? And that leads you kind of down like a more Yeah, just like weird ideas because people
Yeah.
are so used to certain things. You have to make things fresh. Um, so I don't know. Like beyond, there's not like a one singular reason behind everything. It was kind of a in the moment, in the present. Even just like right now, like we're
Yeah.
chatting right now. It's like we just dropped this coin. The idea is to onboard, millions of fucking people, and we're thinking of viral ideas, mischief style of like what we could do
Yeah.
right now that would go
Yeah.
kind of crazy. So that's like what we're working on now. Very different than we were working on, 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that. Like, what was the first aha moment? Like, what was like, oh, like this, DeGods isn't just something because I know you guys like there was
Yeah,
minting issues at the beginning. Like, I was there for that. So, like, how did it go from being, I'm starting this, let's see what happens to, becoming, I think at one point was it the second biggest NFT
yeah,
project?
yeah.
Yeah, like at the time, and you're still up there. So, I mean, like, what was that aha moment like?
I think we when we minted in October of 21, we're actually like 4 days away from our anniversary, 3 years. Uncle
Yeah,
Frankie at this point, but
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. And after we minted, it was pretty much down only for for 4.5, 5 months. And at the time, I started out in the space anonymous. I actually got doxxed a year later. It was a fucking annoying thing. We were really popular, but started out in the space anonymous. And the first 4 months, we were throwing a lot of shit at the wall. We were trying a lot of stuff, but none of it was really like catching any traction. And so, in the depths of just like 4 months into a fucking NFT mint on Solana, like this is pretty much like a dead project at this point. And so I
yeah,
think we started to then just we had this idea of like, all right, let's kill all the stuff we were working on before. Let's try out like just what if we change the art? What if we create like a thing where incentivize people to walk up to fucking DeGods? Like, what do we do this? What do we do this? And it started to really click. And I think the moment where I realized, oh, we're onto something here is when we got back to the same floor price that we were at, like, right at our all-time high, right when we minted, after being like 3.5, 4 months down, only pretty much dead in volume. And then
yeah,
the momentum that came from that led to then it 10x from there. Then we became like number one on Solana, and this all happened over the course of like a month and a half. And then we just kind of held that spot for a very long time. Kept trying new things. So that was the moment where we were like, oh fuck, like this was supposed to be impossible. Like you're not supposed to be able to bring the energy back to something like this. And we felt like us plus the community could do it. And it's like, all right, the whole mantra became like, "Why not?" It's not like, "Why should we do this?" It's like, "Why not?" Like, fuck it. Like, yeah, let's bridge. Let's do this. Let's change the art. Let's
yeah.
launch a fucking another collection. Like, let's do whatever. Um, yeah, that's when it shifted.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough. And so how do you think, you know, you figured out when to cut it and try something new? How do you decide? Like, I think you guys took a very new direction again recently. And I think constantly innovating. You guys are like the first to change up the art. Really first NFT project to have like a token I think that made sense at the time. And so how do you decide when to sort of let it go? I think in all aspects of life, founding, school, whatever. How do you know when to let go and try something new when the shit you're throwing at the wall isn't sticking?
When you have an idea that you are so curious about, it's like curiosity is the simple answer. And when you have an
Mhm.
idea you're so curious about that you almost like have to try it to see it. That's I think the best point. I think if you make decisions out of stress, like, we had a former, I was young, when we blew up and, we brought in, like, the CEO guy, and I had to fire him, like, earlier this year, and it was a really brutal, like, honestly, a lot of the spot that we're in today is just, like, this brutal year that I had this learning lesson of, like, "Fuck, if anyone's gonna run it, it just has to be me, I can't offload this." It was, like, kind of a
Mhm.
tangent, but, what it taught me, is you have to be kind of excited about what you're working on, otherwise, it's just gonna kinda if you're in a state of stress trying to figure shit out, then you definitely have no shot. So I'm always just thinking, okay, like even right now with the coin, I keep asking myself, I'm like, all right, you know, what if like we could just take the NFTs that we have right now and give people the option to convert them into a coin, not have to airdrop a new one? Because you just think about it, I hold NFTs that have gotten coins. Like you have this tough spot where do you hold the coin? Like after you get the airdrop, do you hold the NFT? Well, if you hold the NFT, then everyone else is gonna dump the fucking coin, or you hold the coin, people it's just this kind of game. I don't know how you get around it. Like, it kind of
Right.
fragments the community every single time on some first principles shit. So
Right.
that was the brain worm that I just could not get out of my head. I'm like, man, we have fucking DeGods, Utes, Dust, Bitcoin DeGods, like all this shit.
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
it was just one thing? And so that's the curiosity. Now, executing that and like making it successful, well, it's like a new idea. So people are kind of shitting on it right now. But I think when you think about the logic of it, it's pretty sound. But now we have to just prove, okay, now 10 billion people, or not 10, there's 10 billion fucking coins. 8 billion people could hold DeGods.
Yeah.
What are the viral activations? What can we do that proves it to people? And then at that point, I think it'll be really obvious. But we're just in that trough right now. Great entry point, but we're just in that trough right now of figuring out what that first few things, shots on goal would be to go viral. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, so I mean, for those of you who don't know, the obviously the project, you guys have the 3 different NFTs, Dust, and so that's all being converted into one token under DeGod, and so you have that common denominator. And I think what's really interesting is I remember when ERC 404s were going live,
Yeah,
with Pandora, I had some Defrog and like I thought it was really interesting. I think you fixed the liquidity issue with NFTs, where you could only, have the one NFT. You had to sell, you had to leave the community.
yeah,
There was no in between. And I think now you have an in between, and you fix the liquidity issue where, if my NFT does go up to $10,000, I don't get penalized for selling it, but I can still keep, 25, 50% just in the token. And I can still participate in that community. And so like when did you pull the trigger, and what was, again, the aha moment for realizing that that tech could be used to sort of fix a little bit of that community issue?
it was one line that was like, I think Malcolm said it, and once I heard it, it's similar.
Yeah.
If you're really, like, honest with yourself, this is why I'm a controversial for people that don't know, I'm a controversial figure, on crypto Twitter at times, but I'm
You can
kinda
be a
just driven
villain.
by this radical honesty, right? So for me, Malcolm said it one time, he goes, "The problem with NFTs is the higher the price goes, like, the less people that can buy it." There's this weird, like, when you start to think about it like that, you're like, "Okay, so all the NFTs that get really popular and expensive are selling like mass adoption. But like the higher the price goes, the less people can actually engage with it. So then you're kind of forced to dilute. And when you have to dilute, now you have multiple assets you have to manage. And then the people that buy in at the lower price points, do they expect like a different experience? You're just kind of like fucked operationally at that point. And so it was this kind of combination, but it was like higher price goes, less people can buy it. Like, oh fuck. And you compare that to meme coins and it's lit. Like, the higher it goes, the more people actually get excited about it. And we're moving towards a market cap like growth. We're working together. And so that was the moment where we just realized, fuck, like, this is a I don't know how we can like being honest with ourselves, like keep going in this direction. So we probably will get shit for doing it. But I think it's right. And I think
Right.
you're catching us at a time where it's not like popular consensus, but
Yeah.
again, if people can invalidate the logic, I'm open to hearing it. To this day, I've debated this like or heard people talk about it forever. Like I still can't get past that. So
No,
yeah,
I totally agree. I think like when I saw ERC 404s come out, I was like, man, like this is every NFT is going to become this because you fixed it a visibility issue. Like you said, you can onboard, you go from a 1x to 1,000x in terms of how many people can be a part of the community. I think you guys have seen that. Now your community's at what 45,000 holders from
yeah,
previously with Utes and DeGods was under 20K, right? So
yeah.
that was so you guys have done really well there. And like so post execution of creating a hybrid token and once again completely switching your value prop from a founder perspective, like post execution, do you have anything that you think could have gone better, and anything that you think went really well, and what are you looking forward to with this post execution move?
Something that I've made peace with in like life, and this is like, people should like think about this for yourselves. Is like I know I'm not gonna like quit or give up. Like I love the guys, like I'm just gonna keep doing this forever. And so if that's the case, then I'm very okay with learning on the job. Because I tried to offload it for a year. Like I brought in an outside CEO, all this stuff, and it really it almost killed me, dude. It really sucked. I was honestly pretty depressed. But now I feel extreme ownership. Like I feel responsible. I feel like I'm on the same page with the community. So to me, I'm actually learning a lot about the token game, post-launch, right?
Mm,
Like, as we're doing it, and
yeah,
so, do I wish that we knew more, before? Not really, because I don't think it would change the outcome. If I'm being really tactical here, to be honest, like, the Jeets just need to get out, bro, like, there's people that are when you have something that you're committed to for a long time, you got an older asset. Like,
yeah,
there's gonna be bag holders that just wanna, like, get out at whatever exciting thing happens. And so when we launched the coin, 99% of the industry, like, they're launching a coin and they're hyping it up for, months and months.
yeah,
You guys are probably in the points farming programs, like,
yeah,
across the board. And I think what happens and again, categorically throughout the whole year, the only airdrop that's performed well is, Jupiter. Like, think about that,
pretty
like,
much.
the
Yeah,
the only one it's actually,
yeah,
like, the I think, 6 Man Ventures or something did a whole breakdown on it. It's the only one that performed well this year. So, even Blast opened up at a pretty low valuation compared to what people thought it would be at. So, when you think about it, there is that the right way? So, when we launched the coin, we actually had no hype. I didn't even tweet about it. We just posted it in our Telegram, and then it kinda spread from there. I think if you were there for the launch for that. But,
yeah,
because I just know if we're playing chess here, there's gonna be people that wanna leave. Why give them, like, this months and months of fucking pre-hype? Just let them like, sell at these lower values, and then, we're tracking it once they get out, like, that's a tangible difference for the coin, and
right.
we just wanna be ethical. This is another big thing on, like, you asked, do I is there mistakes that I think we made or things we could have learned? To be totally honest, for a lot of you guys are probably gonna go into the crypto industry, um, it's a dark place, I'm not gonna lie. There's, like, a lot of, shady people, bad
Mhm,
practices, it can get you really depressed, and nihilistic about the world if you let it, but I know in the long term, like, the scorecard of just being ethical, being a good person, and making decisions, like, making right by our community instead of launching, like, a new thing, like, let's try to fucking make the thing we're working on better, I think these things will pay off in the long run, but in the short term, people that are unethical get rewarded, in crypto. But,
right.
honestly, in the long term, I think all of them get fucked. And
Yeah,
the reason I say that is now. I was, when I was 21, first meeting all these fucking, like, legends in crypto, I was pretty enamored by that world. And now I realize most of the, like, successful people, a lot of the successful people you see on crypto Twitter, you have nothing to envy. They might be rich, they might have made it, they might have made a cool thing, but they're, like, sad in real life, they're, like, depressing to be around, and, I think this is, like, the difference, right? You wanna be ethical in, in an altruistic way, but also in a selfish way, because as soon as you compromise your own morals or ethics or whatever, because you're in crypto, I'm not sa if you guys were going to AI or some shit, maybe, like, you're gonna be Elizabeth Holmes or, like, you're not worried about this, but crypto, there's, like, a dark side to it, and, you should try to stay out of that shit, man, like, for real. It's, dark, and I don't think you win
yeah.
regardless. Yeah.
I guess I have a twofold question here then, I think, towards the end of this, like, would you say, one, like, I think that it's fair to categorize you as almost like a cult of personality where, like, you became the face of DeGods, like, I think, like, there's levels to it, but I think you see a lot of founders that become sort of like the face, and like you said, you can't leave or else all the value gets destroyed, especially with, it being a community-based, you know, value prop, so how do what do you think about that? And do you regret it? Because the second part of that question is for people who want to launch something, something that's new, something that's creative, like, you created value out of community. Would you say that they should stick to a non-crypto route or that they should go the crypto route despite all the negatives that come along with it?
It's a great question. Um, I never intended to even like I never intended for my face to be shown. I got doxxed in December of 2022. It's actually like right after we announced we were bridging off Soul. It's like Frank hate was at all-time highs. And then like
Yeah.
the week after that, I get doxxed. My girlfriend at the time like wakes me up. She's like, dude, they're saying your name on Twitter. I'm like, fuck. I go like record a video. Hey guys, what's up? And that kind of ended the era. I used to wear like a Bitcoin mask. Um
Yeah.
and, like, all these fucking interviews and stuff I went on, and, that was my goal. I think it would be better off if I was still anonymous, but, like, you gotta deal with things the way they are. I don't think it's that fun, and I felt this way about startups too. Like, even if you guys don't do something in crypto, being like the boss or being the CEO or whatever is actually not more fun. Like, I actually have more fun, like working at fucking Main Street or whatever on the day
Yeah.
to day. Um, it just depends on how much responsibility, you wanna take on. And I think you grow as a person by definition, the more responsibility you take on. So in crypto, you don't just take on the responsibility of like, your team, you actually take on the responsibility of community. Um, this is different than the classic paradigm, with startups or whatever, in Web 2 and Web 3. And so if you're internet native, if you're like ready for the smoke, like, if you're down to run like a internet community, whether you're doing a tech coin or not, honestly, like it doesn't matter. You're still gonna end up running a community of people that hold this coin. Then it might be for you, but I think this is my philosophy. No matter what, like work somewhere, get experience, like get your confidence up before doing something. I don't think we would have done DeGods if I didn't have like confidence for my all right, like we've done shit before, maybe not like this specifically,
Right.
but that's kinda my thoughts on it if you wanna be a founder. Um, my goal though for DeGods, like, I know this to be a fact for almost any founder, like, led project, you end up being the weak point, right? Because this is very specific take.
Okay.
Break down the psychology of why founders are glazed in, crypto. It's because it's the easiest you guys know what glazing means, right? Yeah, I don't need to explain it. The reason why crypto founders are glazed, it's actually has nothing to do with you. Like, this is why there's no ego that should be involved. It's because it's really easy to tell your buddy to buy the thing. If you're like, "Yo, bro, go buy, like, Pigcoin, dude. The founder's a giga chad. The founder did this or founder did that." It's like this kinda narrative point that people use. And so what'll
Yeah.
happen with a lot of founders that are, running something, especially if it starts to get traction, is that you will become almost like you're a vehicle, for more speculation. So you become this cult of personality, but it's almost always ends poorly. If you really think about it, it almost always ends poorly at one point or another because it's a weak point. So the day that DeGods is bigger than Frank, that's when we know we succeeded, right? And this is like kind of a North Star in my head of hey, long term, like the community should be stronger than just like one person, but a leader initially helps it's hard to form social cohesion without a leader, but, um,
Right.
that's like my mental model on it.
Yeah, I think it helps to have something to rally behind, but then, you run the risk of opening yourself up there to a lot more than I think you probably bargained for.
Yeah.
And yeah, I completely agree. I think it depends on how much responsibility that you'd like to take on. Because I mean, like even like a very small scale, like in the club, I was just treasurer, and now you go to being like president, and I got to do 20 interviews this week. I got to meet with 5 different people. It's like, yeah, it was probably more fun when I didn't have as much responsibility, but the only way to grow is by taking on some of that responsibility. So I think, across
Yeah.
all things, I think it definitely
It's like
applies.
President Konrad has a good ring to it. President Konrad, like, but at the same time, like, on the day to day, does that little fucking soundbite really make the difference in your fucking, like, human experience?
No.
It just adds more responsibility, more stress, like, more intensity. That's all really the difference is.
Yeah, fair enough. And I guess, yeah, like going forward, what do you guys have planned for DeGods? I mean, like talk about some of the cool stuff you guys have been cooking up. I saw the billboards. I think I really like what you guys are doing with the maps and sort of like letting people pinpoint themselves as holders on the map, like, dox themselves a little bit. But no, I'm just kidding. So like what do you have going forward and what are you looking forward to for DeGods and crypto in general?
I think right now for DeGods, I'm excited to be able to take a lot of shots on goal. So even this,
Mm.
you got to give us a pan. By the way, if there's like people in the room, we got to get a screenshot. Oh, yeah, farm some
Yeah.
content. But I this kid from Texas Tech made a video when we did the billboard thing. So I think we're gonna go like literally go to Texas Tech coming up in like a week, and we're gonna do something with their blockchain club. So I think like college stuff, because I feel like they say something where when you make it, you like stop aging. So, like, I
Yeah.
was, like, 21 when, like, DeGods popped off, and so I was still, like, college age at the time, and so for me, I'm, like, excited to do more shit with, I think a lot of the influence is still from DeGods because I didn't really have, like, this long period of time, of being, like, out of school before things got really serious, and so I'm excited to do the college tour, and then, obviously, there's
Mm.
stuff in the background, exchanges, this kinda stuff, but I think more shots on goal. doing more things that are fun, and, that's kind of it. Like, it's not, no roadmap. Like, it's just day
Yeah,
to day.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the new motto is just do shit, right?
Douche.
So, I mean, like, speak of, like, maybe you can give some examples, I mean, for those who don't know, like, what do you guys mean by just do shit? Like, if that's your ethos, that's your mantra, how can that apply to, multiple levels or even just to DeGods?
Yeah, it's a guiding philosophy for me, even pre DeGods of, if you're kinda stuck in indecision, the best thing you could do is just, like, do something because, the reality is, like, life is just not gonna work out in the exact way that you're planning, but the beauty is, like, the more shit you do, the more motion you create, um, the more shit's just likely to work out and, I don't know, like, that's, like, a deeper thing for me, but
Yeah,
just do shit. It's kinda like, "Guys, like, let's stop debating about, oh, like, a year ago, you guys did this thing," or like, "Oh, we should go do that," or whatever. Like, let's just create motion, and when you create motion, you have the opportunity to create momentum, and when momentum is, like, what this entire industry is driven on, and
mm,
so, the goal is just like, yeah, just do shit. Do everything great or die, DGOD, baby. Um, I think we're testing out, like, the mottos, catchphrases, but, yeah, I believe it. Just do shit, it works out. I
yeah,
didn't think I'd
fair
be doing
enough.
this, to be honest. I
Yeah,
I
I'm glad that we were able to kick off the college tour. Like, what do you guys have in plan for that? And is there a chance that you could be coming to Waterloo in person?
yeah, I fucking love to. I mean, I wanna see everyone else, but, yeah, yeah, I would love to Conrad President Conrad. Um, I think
Of
the idea
course.
for Texas Tech, we're working on it with the guy, but, probably, like, sponsor a party or some shit, and then, like, we'll do one
Okay.
of these IRL and then sponsor a party and then get a bunch of kids DeGods merch, and then I think Rasmer and Thread Guy are gonna come with us too, and so we'll get Rasmer
Okay.
asking college kids, like, "What do you think about crypto?" And
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
we'll see what Thread wants to do, but because 'cause we're all roommate. That's the other thing, another pro about for me, I love, like, living in the same place, with my, co-founders, people I'm working with, or just, like, other people that you're like you fuck with or you wanna make stuff together with. Um, it's actually crazy. I spent a lot of this year getting to hang out with Banks.
Phase
FaZe guys.
phase
You guys definitely know about FaZe. Yeah, it's the biggest thing in the
yeah,
world right now. Um, and for the first like 4 or 5 months, he was like calling his shots on like what was gonna happen with FaZe. And at the time, like all he really talked about was crypto. And we were just like talking about crypto stuff, probably nothing, whatever it is. But he's talking about how he wanted to like let FaZe go lower and, buy it back and then kinda run this whole
mhm,
strat. And he said something recently to us that I thought was really powerful. He's like, everything in his life he's ever done is with a group. He's never been, like, alone. Like, he's always doing shit with other people. And so people are wondering, like, what is making FaZe so successful in 2024 compared to everything else? Was like, Kai Cenat, it's really like Kai and friends. Yeah, Duke
right.
Dennis got the mad riz, but it's like, it's like, it really
Mm,
is, just kind friends. With FaZe,
right.
it's really like a group, and people have different favorite members. It's really like this group energy, and this is like, if you can make it work, it's just like lightning in a bottle. It's really fire. And so that's kind of Banks' philosophy, and I learned a lot from him this year, and, that's something it's been instinctual for me, but seeing that shit work
Yeah,
at, like, the global
yeah,
scale, it's very inspiring. Um,
yeah. I
yeah,
saw that you were
interns too in college, like, that's another thing, like, if anyone is interested, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stay in the Discord after this, and, I'll just, like, chat with you guys, get a vibe, but, yeah, I'm looking to kinda get, like, a rep, a DOT rep at every school if
right.
working on what the system would be, probably just a bunch of free merch and, like, money to spend on, sponsorship stuff, this is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Really just get people interested. I think that sounds good. So I was laughing at a comment earlier. Frank got motion. I think going forward, like, yeah, I think that's awesome, and I think that's definitely something that we'd want to do at Waterloo. Um, and yeah, I guess maybe we should open it up for questions or
That'd be
let's see.
sick.
I guess let's see if we can do Discord questions, I guess, first, and then we can do some in-person ones. If you guys want to request to speak, let's see. Or if we have any questions. questions here for Frank before we wrap things up. Yeah, we got one here. I guess do you wanna come up or do you wanna just say it and I'll repeat it? Okay,
Bring him
okay.
up, bro. Bring him up. Bring him up.
You wanna come up? Do you wanna
He's
talk?
gotta come up. He's got do shit, dude. Do some
All
shit.
right, they're coming up. They're coming up. You got some Waterloo boys coming up for you, or one Waterloo boy.
Let's go. What's the mascot for fucking Waterloo? What is it? Like, you guys have one?
We're the Warriors. We got like some. Yeah, I
Mhm.
guess we kind of got a goose. We kind of got like some other cat looking thing. I don't know. We got some interesting things going on. All right, here we go.
Drop that shit on Fun.
Ah,
Yo, what's up, man?
nice to meet you. I'm really naive to this new crypto thing. I'm here because my friend dragged me, but that brings me with a question. How much percent of the crypto community is you think is financially literate? It's something I always curious about. Like,
Yeah, that's a good question. There's, like, levels of financial literacy. There's, like, oh, yeah, like, I should save money, and then there's, like, what I described with the Fed of just, "Hey, I'm never gonna make enough to, have the life I wanna live, so I'm gonna gamble it, and speculate it until I can make enough." So, it would be hard to ascribe it to a percent. Why do you ask is actually probably a good question. Like
like I'm just trying to understand like what's like the dynamic in crypto. Like, who are the main like players? I guess I like the community.
Like
yeah.
demographics or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how well educated.
No, not the education. It's just like I don't know. I can't. That was the best way I could phrase it. I have no idea.
No, yeah, fair enough. I guess like how responsible are they with their money? Like
Like, how do you what do you imagine is the crypto like the ideal crypto consumer? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think it's people that, hear usually about Bitcoin first is, like, usually the thing. In 2020 and 2021, is like ETH, DAOs, we're buying the Constitution. Like, I don't know how old you guys were at that point, but like that was a big thing. NFTs, whatever. For the last few years and before that, it's just like, oh, is Bitcoin is like this investment vehicle. I can invest money in Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes crazy, goes to the moon, and then yeah. So I think that's how most people hear about it. And the message the crypto community is trying to put across is that Bitcoin is like a good thing to save your money and um it just depends on your time horizon. But I don't know, man. Honestly, it's very wide. And talk to Konrad about it. You should just get on Twitter. There are following some people from crypto Twitter. But it's a very like wide audience of people. Like I could not pin it down to a single demographic beyond everybody there gets into it because they want to make exponential like growth on their capital, I would say.
Yeah.
Most
Okay.
people. Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
no problem.
Yeah, no, I'd say going back to what you were talking about with phase, I think like the horizontal scaling, I think you saw it sort of once again. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. And I think, yeah, I think like in terms of crypto people, I think some are very, very educated and some don't deserve to have a platform. So I'd say you really get a nice bell curve, but you have some nice, I mean, really smart people like, Will Clemente. I think he's,
Yeah, my doc
Jesse
account, my
Bullock.
real name's Rohan, and, like, I used to actually be a Bitcoin maxi.
Yeah,
That's how I got into crypto, and Will Clemente, we usually go back and forth. I met him at, like, a Bitcoin thing when he was first, like, popping off. Because I
okay.
made a website that went viral, called Bitcoin or Shit, and so Anthony Pompliano and, like, Will Clemente and all these fuckers, like, followed me from that, and that's my first, like, network in crypto, was posting something on the timeline, and then a bunch of people fucked with it, and then that's why I got started getting invited to stuff or whatever, but that was under my doc's name, 'cause, Bitcoin maxis don't really fuck with, NFTs and stuff like that, but Will Clemente, that's a crazy cut. What is he doing now? I don't really see him as much.
I just see him sometimes he puts out some threads and he's just analyzing general markets. But I mean, I mean, whenever I see him, it's like it's very high level of thinking. It's
Yeah,
nothing like,
yeah.
go,
He's still a
you know.
maxi?
No, I think because he does a lot of altcoin related stuff. I don't know
Okay,
what his personal portfolio is,
everyone went
but
down that route. Yeah, that's an OG Bitcoin maxi. Even Murad used to be a Bitcoin maxi, like,
yeah,
Murad, the meme coin guy, yeah, like, kinda crazy, yeah. Different
yeah.
cult.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I guess like, I guess one thing that would also be good to ask, is like if you had to convince people of Bitcoin in as little amount of time, what's your elevator pitch?
Honestly, my overage, it usually tracks the top stock Nvidia or Tesla. Like last cycle was Tesla with just a slightly higher delta. If you're gonna buy a stock, like if that's something that you're okay with doing, you could just buy Bitcoin. This is like not the conventional answer. I could lecture you on like double spend problem and all this stuff, but just look at the charts. It's kind of tracks. This cycle has been tracking Nvidia. Nvidia goes up, Bitcoin kind of usually follows. Last cycle was Tesla, so it's like a higher delta on that.
All right, so you just have a higher delta, higher risk to outperform the market, but then at the same time, you get the downside to a greater degree as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Does
And Bitcoin
anybody
just
else?
gone up forever, kind of. You just wait
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Do you want to come up or do you want me to repeat it?
Come up, bro.
Are you sure? Come on. Okay. All right. I think I'll repeat it. Yeah. Can you hear that?
No, not at all.
Okay. No. Wait, hold on. You didn't hear. You didn't hear it.
I
So
could
you said
hear it, yeah.
how important is it to be financially literate in crypto? Was that the ethos of the question or?
In general, even because a lot of people, I think nowadays, a lot less people are possibly financially literate. But
Okay.
like in a university, we're all pretty literate, but actually, like most people are not, and they're still okay.
Okay.
Like it's different than others.
Oh, I see. So is the bar for literacy in crypto lower or higher than traditional financial literacy?
I love this
Okay.
question. I actually like this question a lot.
Okay.
The reason why is okay, so I mentioned my thing on the Fed and like people needing to speculate more. So
Yeah.
in gambling, for example, there's like pure gambling and then there's informed gambling, which I know it sounds super degenerate when I say it, but there's like a concept Kelly criterion. You guys know what this is? Kelly criterion is like a math formula used to determine like your bet sizing. And you can apply this to everything from poker to sports betting to investments. And there's like this kind of huge suite of skills that I would argue is like speculation skills or gambling skills. And I think it's important for young people to like at least understand basically how that works. Um, you know, how do you size something into a portfolio? Like I don't no class that I went to in college like really taught me this stuff. But crypto is kind of this more lightweight way to do it than I think in stocks. You could do this as well, but it's like you don't get the same social circle that you do when you kind of go on chain in the crypto world. And so people have this kind of worry, hey, if I put money into crypto, then I'm gonna like lose everything. But I
Right.
would point it back that you guys are all adults. I believe, yeah, like there's no 17-year-olds in there, right? You guys are all
Yeah.
adults. Like at some point, you have to learn shit for yourself and like be responsible for your own decisions. And I think that you can put how much ever you want to into a thing. So my advice again, take it with a grain of salt, but you should really, if you're going to take a risk, know that you're taking a risk, accept it, and if it goes well or goes poorly, at some point in your life, you are going to take a financial risk. Even to a degree, some people think we're going to hit a recession, so investing in the S&P
Yeah.
500 is a fucking risk that you could lose, basis points on when you put capital in there. So I would argue the best thing you can learn is like the math and the science behind like risk taking, and this will apply to not just crypto, but basic investing, savings, and decision making. So that's my take on the financial literacy. I think people over index on like, do I know how to fill in my tax filings versus hey, is this a good decision or not? And what percentage of my bankroll or what percentage of my capital should I put into this? If I'm new, if I'm sitting at a poker table and I'm new, I've never played poker before, should I put 100% of my net worth into that, like, on that table? Like, probably not. Probably not a fucking good idea. And so, but what percentage? Like, you want to learn? Maybe I'll put 2%. So look up Kelly criterion. This is like the rabbit hole that will get you guys deeper on this side of the world. But that's like the best form of financial literacy going into the future is just understanding how to evaluate risk. That's my take.
Yeah, I think 100% I agree. Like even, in some of my finance courses, like we were taught like, diversification for your portfolios. And like my prof kind of alluded to the fact that, if you really want to make money, you need a few concentrated bets, instead of having a 25 stock portfolio, but you can have a stock that goes up 100%, but your whole portfolio is then only up 4%. But
Yes.
if you were to, you know, put that into 5 different stocks that you really focused your effort, time into, became a professional on those, that 100% then turns into 20%. And so it's such a big difference, I think, in
The
terms of
Warren
the
Buffett quote is, I think it's concentration is how you build wealth, and then, diversification is how you protect it. Yeah, how
exactly.
you keep it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then was there a second part to your question as well?
Ask her, does that make sense or am I just yapping? Like, d
She said it makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Conrad, can I ask you a question for the room?
Yeah.
Like, how many people in the room are in like have a Twitter account and are on like crypto Twitter?
See, raise your hand if you're on crypto Twitter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got about 15. 15
Out
on
of
crypto.
like what's the denominator?
I'd say like 25.
Okay, sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, not. I mean, again, we planned this whole thing in 4 days, so turnout was a little bit
No, good.
lackluster, but
25 is great. That's
we
not
got it
it.
recorded so we can
I'm
get some
looking
more
at
people.
the numerator and the denominator. So like, good percentage of you
Yeah,
guys are on CT. And to be honest, like that's the best way to kind of start understanding it is take things at face value, like see what you're reading. And you get a sense of how people are interacting, how people are spending money. The only thing I can tell you is the P&L screenshots. I have a lot of friends that are these KOLs that post this shit or whatever. And like you don't see the losses, right? And this is again where this gambling math stuff, risk math and like learning all of that is helpful. But yeah, like that's a great way to start. Is just get on Twitter. And Conrad, you know this, and people in CT know this. There's a bajillion ways in crypto to make money without ever spending a dollar. To
Yeah,
be
I
honest,
think
like
the biggest thing for me was airdrop farming. I think that was how like I almost 3x my account like Blur. I had 1 ETH and I made 1 ETH just purely off of farming it. Like and I
yeah,
didn't really lose anything.
find an early
Yep.
protocol you like or a
Yeah.
project, and be active in their fucking chat, and then get hired as a mod. Like there's like these a million ways that you could just kind of find a way to start making money on CT without crypto Twitter without ever spending a dollar. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we got one request before I accept DKid. I think I got one question. How do you separate noise from signal on crypto Twitter? And how do you sort of curate that feed? Because I think it's a valid question because people here are on crypto Twitter. What do you try to do to separate the signal from the noise?
Okay, you won't hear this answer everywhere, but I think it's facts, is, leverage the reply button, because the best way to, like, separate signal from noise is actually just getting closer to these people. So, like,
Mm,
be the reply guy. Like, if you see someone has an interesting take, reply, say, like, "You think it's an interesting take?" DM them. Maybe they ignore it, like, whatever, but you're shooting your shot. So that way you can actually, like, talk to these people or, get closer to them or get added to a group chat, whatever it is. This is the best way to get real signal, in crypto is it's like a bunch of mini social tribes that all make up a much bigger social tribe that all, like, exist on the internet. And so getting into one is gonna be a true experience, uh, that's gonna get you closest to, signal, IMO. Because I don't think a follower list or, like, who you follow or growing your account and all this stuff, I think this kinda thing is overrated. You really wanna find your tribe,
mm,
of people or people that you really like their thoughts and try to get closer to them and ask them your follow-up questions. This is a vibe, and that's kinda like the way to think about CT.
100%. All right, let's bring in DKid and see what he has got to say. Let's see if he'll accept.
I'm
I know
nervous.
there was a few questions in the chat. I think that went by super quickly. All right, here we go.
Hello, how are you? I hope you guys having a nice day. Um,
Hey,
so
buddy.
Frank, you, Konrad. I just want to ask Frank, like, how did the DeGod token idea come? Like, how did it come across your mind?
It was late at night one night, and I typed in, like, $ DGod. Wow, this looks kinda hard. No, but I mean, I think we explained it, like, kind of earlier, maybe you missed the part, but we just had, like, 3 assets. Felt like this is we're never gonna be able to drag up all 3 of these assets, so let's, combine it into one, put the whole community, together, on one thing.
Fair enough. You got anything else?
So, if it's for you to onboard like a new guy to DeGods, what do you prefer, giving them the token or the NFT?
I think the cool thing about the token is you can buy how much ever you want to. So it's not always a token, like it's the cheapest entry in. Get it. If you like it, buy more. If you don't, don't. everyone in the room. Get some DeGod, hop in the Telegram chat. We'll chat in this Discord. But yeah, it's kind of like um, there's no stress to it. Ideally, it's like put out whatever you want to.
Yeah, thanks for having me up here. And Konrad, I got a recording if you want it. Yeah, let
Let's
somebody
go.
else
All right.
speak.
I'll reach out. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right, here we go.
All right, now
Okay.
you got to do the pan. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but and then whoever fucking Jerry, Aaron in the audience, like take a screenshot. You guys have
Let's
like the
see.
fucking Waterloo as we do.
We could do here. Hold on. Do you want to get everybody up here? We take a photo with it. All right.
Let's go.
You can't see us right now, but I'll send it in the chat in a second.
All right, that's perfect. Honestly, that's good. That works.
Somebody doesn't want to be in the photo, they can just take it on my phone. I'll take it for you guys. All right. Thank you. All right, look at it. Give us a second. Give us a second. You'll go on the side.
It's the Waterloo sign, I think.
Nice. They hold up some W's. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I gotta get you guys. Yo, up and. Get in the beat in the front. I'm guessing you. All right, ready, Frank?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. DeGods, baby. All right, awesome.
You guys, baby.
All right, I'll send it in the chat. I'll tweet it out. Anybody have any wrap up questions before we? Yeah. Do you want to come up and ask? You can just have a
Please, bro.
conversation. Have a little conversation.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. You introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, Frank.
Hey.
Thank you for answering my question before. It's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Brenda, since Konrad said to introduce myself.
Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
nice to meet you. I really love your energy. I was wondering if it was you or if people are in the industry or say in your journey as a founder.
Damn. Oh, I lost you. It all cut out.
We're back. We're back. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. All right, here we go.
Oh, okay. Sorry
Yeah.
about
No worries,
that. Did
no
you
worries.
hear my question or?
No, it actually cut out right before you asked.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry, no
worries.
I said that I really love your energy and the way you sort of view a lot of things. And I was wondering if that was you or if through your journey as like a founder and everything or in the space, was that sort of the surrounding that you encountered? Because I'm sure there's going to be like positives and also negatives as well. So how do you navigate that? And
Yeah.
yeah.
That's actually a deep question. I think that you'll find like in crypto, there's polarity. Like there's an intense amount of people that are like honestly like retardedly like optimistic on the future, right? Like wag me, like crypto is gonna be adopted by everybody in the world, and everyone that I know here in the space is gonna get like really rich, and like we're all super hyped. And you have people that are very nihilistic, that are on the opposite end of the spectrum, kind of anything that happens, there's like this is the end of the world, doomerism, like world's going to shit, crypto sucks, like it's gonna die. And so you kind of end up gravitating. I don't think everyone's in like, I think both sides are caricatures. But you kind of end up gravitating towards certain people. And what you'll find is people that are nihilistic and like negative, and people that are positive, both are success cases in the space. Both of them end up being successful archetypes in the space. I think for me, I've just always gravitated towards like people that are positive, that are fun, that want to try shit. So even like our roommates, like right now, Thread Guy, Rasmer, OG, these are all these kids that just they just do fun stuff like that energy. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's and when I was talking earlier about the darker side of the space, it's it's not something you have to really worry about unless you start going deeper in the space and you don't keep like moral compass because things get really gray in crypto, but I don't want to like spook anyone. Like if you're a good person, like you're just gonna find other good people. As I think happens in other industries as well. So yeah, it's a fun space if you want it to be fun, I think.
Wow, okay. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for your answer.
No
Really
problem.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I was wondering, like, for all of us, sort of, do you have any tips on if we want to get into this space or any tips in general,
I
basically?
have the best tip for you guys. All right. This is like, okay. Have you guys heard the term KOL? Okay.
Yes.
So
Key
for people
opinion
that
leader.
haven't, even if there's one person, it's because of there's a punchline here, but I'll get it. KOL means key opinion leader, and it's kind of like what you describe. Like, it's what you call influencers in crypto, right? But to a degree, I would say the biggest KOL in the space is like the normie, the college kid, the person that's like outside of crypto. People are always really curious. What's Gen Z gonna buy? Like, which meme coin are they gonna buy? Like, what are they into, et cetera. And I think you guys should all leverage that as you're looking for jobs, as you're like trying to get hired to say, be confident that your opinion is actually the opinion and the viewpoint that everyone in the industry is searching for. Like, think about that for a second. Like, everyone, like this multi-trillion-dollar in industry, like a lot of it is hinging on like, dude, what are these college kids? Or what do the fucking college kids think? And so I think leveraging that in your in your endeavors and getting in the space is like the smartest strategic way to do it is have confidence because yeah, like there's not a lot of new people coming in the space. You guys are brave. In 2021 and 2020, I remember because I was in college at that time, and every one of my buddies in the startup space was like getting into crypto. It's like the thing, right? Every single person was. As I imagine for you guys, it might be something similar with AI, or even just like still way less people that are fervently getting into crypto than they were at that time. So you're rare, you have value, you go to fucking Waterloo, and anyone, like these are all like really good things and so be confident, because the industry is actually looking for you guys and wants you. Yeah, that's my tip.
Okay, wow, wow,
Yeah.
yeah, and the new generation, right? So like that, it is very important.
The
Yeah, right.
arguably the most like your perspective. Same thing where I tell Rasmer because for you guys who don't know who Rasmer is, he got really popular by doing this video where he asked normies, which one would they rather buy, Arbitrum or Whiff, like dog with hat. And it's like all the normies say they want to buy like dog with hat. The joke that we always talk about is there's like 6 people in that video. There's 6 people that he asks. But the impact of that video was industry wide. It's like he asked 6 people, but then everyone was like, "Holy shit! Like, are VC coins dead now?" Like, basically all this stuff where it created this whole conversation. It was after 6 people packaged well in a video. So in a way, even making a tweet like, college kids are thinking this. Like I asked like 5 college kids, whatever. This could go like super viral. Like it could be pop off. So you guys are in a unique spot that has value. Yeah, I'll stop yapping, but I think the point's like has gotten across.
Oh, great. It's great. Thank you. Yeah, wow. Wow. And sorry, one last question. How do you remain like radically curious? I find sometimes like maybe not in the startup space, but for a lot of college students, maybe they were curious, but through their college experience, maybe sort of they get what like ground down perhaps, and curiosity becomes less of a factor. Like it's sort of second place compared to a lot of other things. Yeah. So what's your suggestion for that?
I think you have to ask yourself more follow-up questions or like project out what the best case scenario is and the worst case scenario is. Something I do all the time when I'm like thinking about something is I go very polar with it. Like, okay, if we do this coin, like what's the worst thing that can happen? And like what's also obviously the best case scenario. But the more you get okay with the worst case scenario of any situation, the more that like mentally like, all right, it actually won't end up that bad. Um, you can now kind of go confidently with an abundance mindset because what you're describing is what you're describing, Brenda, is this feeling of being bogged down by either like responsibilities, things stops being interesting to you. Whatever that initial spark is gets like mundane after a while. But the reason it's getting mundane is because you're like bogged down by anxiety. I would argue like the core of it is might be anxiety about the situation you're in, whatever it is. So I think the best way to stay curious is realize that the worst case scenario is never as bad as you think. And the more you just do shit, hence the slogan, like in life, you get more sample size of data. Like, all right, like this thing I really thought at that time things would go really bad, like ended up being fine. So I'm good and I can continue to, look for what excites me next. Uh yeah. Ideally, like curiosity is never gets boring because when you learn something, it's like what they say, um, the more you know about something, the more you know you don't know. Like the
Yeah.
more you learn, yeah. So is this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Um, do you think that NFTs could help with this? Because if, say, a lot of college students are feeling this sort of thing, but then NFTs could possibly bring up the community, the community spirit and everything. So is that possibly one reason why people are really excited about it?
In the spirit of me being radically honest with you guys, I don't like maybe maybe like you guys make a sick JPEG for the Waterloo blockchain club. Like it's like people get excited about it, but no, I think it's just everyone in the room right there, if you're interested in crypto, whatever it is, like how can you push your buddies and like other people that are like the people in your circle to like do better, like try harder, like go after something more, or hey, like let's go make this thing, or let's go try this, or yo, let's both get a fucking internship before the end of the week, before the end of the month. Um, that's the kind of motion that I think just leads to, maybe it ends up being an NFT, but I don't think that should be the inception. Inception should be like, you know, what actually gets you excited before you put something into a bucket. Because that's how you end up being an NPC. Sorry for being like again crass, but it's like you end up being an NPC by reading a lot about what's going on in the space, and this used to happen very often with my colleagues in the startup world back in the day. You have a lot of people that are professional, like startup Twitter, readers, and they read everything, they're up to date on it. But then your only mental model for ideas is kind of like what the latest person that wrote a long thread thinks. And this, when you enter the real world, this is my like real reality check for everyone. It's like once you graduate school, once you leave, once you enter the workforce, it becomes a very competitive environment. Like the global economy is just getting more and more competitive. So you want to make things that are good. And if you want to make things that are good, you have to have original thoughts. So the best thing you can do in college is take the free time, like savor that, do cool things with your buddies, and make them original, make them like something that you're gonna learn something that nobody else knows by pursuing it. So that's my take on that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank-
Awesome. Good questions. Anybody else got anything else? Any other questions? All right, I'll check. I think we have one more speaker request, and then I think, oh no,
Awesome.
I think that's it. Yeah, no, I completely agree. With a lot of the things you said. I think staying radically curious is definitely one way to stay active in the space, and I really agree that like when you just repeat the last thing that you saw on CT, you like are your YouTube, and then it becomes your personality for a week. You're no better than, I mean, an NPC. Yeah.
You're not like challenging yourself, right? And
Yeah.
like I'll be like again really honest with everyone in the room right now. It's like I would argue the spot that we're in right now with DeGods like really challenging. Like holy fuck, right? Like it's intense. People's like, there's a lot of criticism, there's a lot of people that like it, whatever, it's a challenging thing. But I just turned 25 this year, so I'm really like Uncle Frank at this point, for the kids there. I remember when I
You
was
hit
21.
status. You
I
hit
remember when I was
status.
21, I thought like, holy fuck, dude, 25, I'm dead at that point. I
Yeah.
still feel I feel like old now, but
Yeah.
I really think like in my head, I know that for the rest of my life, I will have more and more responsibility. Like this is actually like a non-negotiable. It's like just a fact. Like the older
Yeah.
you get, the more responsibility you get. And dealing with difficult situations at any given time is working out the muscle in your brain that allows you to take on more and more responsibility. And so when you start your first thing, like I remember starting my first thing in college, you start your first thing, there's like this soft tendon or tissue in your brain for having like this responsibility, managing people, like pushing through on the nights where you have to push through, whatever it is. It's like a soft tendon. And over time, you're gonna work it out. And eventually you're just gonna make better and better decisions. You're gonna accelerate your process for taking on more responsibility, which is gonna let you tackle more and more ambitious things. So what you really want to optimize for when you're young is like increase your brain's like capacity to and your mental capacity to just take on more and more ambitious things. So that when
Mm.
you have the right idea and you're in the right place and you're in the right time, you can go make something incredible and make you and all your buddies billionaires. Like that's the reason to like try stuff, you know? It's like you're working out your brain, you're working out your decision making, and you're working out your something that you just can't like work out without trying shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say, if you had to like, last thing to say was like, how can students leverage what they have at university to do that? But I think you already said it, use your free time, use the people you're around, your friends. Waterloo, we have 45,000 students
Yeah.
here. Also, I was joking about Unk status. I saw immediately 10 people message as soon as I said it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
No. So I mean,
I'm
it's just
owning my own arc, like aging into it. Like it's like fine
I
wine,
mean,
right?
yeah,
I'm
like
like,
in crypto, it seems like that way. I mean, you see, like, Gajesh from Eigenlayer, he's like 16. He's been
yeah,
working since he was 14 in crypto. Like, so I think that's also, another ethos about crypto. But if you were to leave us, with a lasting message or a lasting sort of recap of this talk, what would that be?
I got not. um, Follow your curiosity. Ask yourself why not. It's really simple. Like you're
Yeah,
making a decision, like just ask yourself like why not? Like instead of why should I do this thing or why should I do that thing, just why not? Like why can't I? Fuck it. Like I think this
yeah.
it just leads you to awesome experiences every time, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I was watching a Dan Tapiro and Raw Paul interview, and that's exactly what they were saying was like once you consider everything to be a factor and you weigh out every single pro and con, everything is a factor and therefore nothing is a factor. You have to decide on like a few key things, get those straight, and then you got to go forward. Because I think like there's something like in terms of macro analysts, they look at everything and then everything becomes a factor. Like the yen carry trade, and then you got the war and you got this and this. So I'd say, yeah, I think why not, and taking asymmetric bets on yourself is definitely a good way to
Asymmetric bet. Yes, sir,
yeah,
bro. Bro's doing the gambling math. Bro's studying the gambling math. Let's go. Awesome, man. Well,
listen,
this is super fun. I might take
yeah,
you up on coming out there, and I'll hang
100%.
out in the Discord later today, probably, and try to like follow everyone on Twitter. But
Yeah.
yeah, this has been really
Yeah,
fun.
because you're 3 hours behind us, I think, right? Because it's 4:30 where you're at?
I forget the time zone. Yeah, it is. But like,
All right, fair enough.
yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah.
guess you guys heard it. If you guys want to chat, maybe get a follow on Twitter, in the Discord. That's the place to be. I guess we'll wrap it up here. I think we all really appreciate you coming out. Hopefully we got a recording. So yeah. All right, I
Awesome.
guess we'll wrap it up, and I guess hopefully we'll see you soon in person.
Pleasure, President. Thank you so much
Beautiful.
for having me, sir. Awesome, guys. Let's
See
go,
you, sir,
Waterloo.
Brody.
Waterloo Warriors. Waterloo Geese. Let's get
All the
it.
rest
All
of
right.
the
Peace.
class. All right.